Hello everybody and welcome to the next episode of Bronze to Mythic for Aether Drift Draft. We are coming off a pretty cool draft where we had Riverturn Monument and we got past a pick 5 Salvation Engine. And we went 7 and 2. So I believe we're in high plat 1 now. Plat 1 either like 1 or 2 little notches or whatever. And so hopefully this is the draft that gets us to Diamond. So I will see you guys in the draft. All right, hello and welcome to our Pack 1 Pick 1 of this episode of Bronze to Mythic. Our rare is Monument to Endurance, and after our last Monument to Endurance deck, I'm gonna have a hard time passing this one up. That deck was really good. Other cards in this pack, there's a Ketradon, there's a Spin Out, and I really like Glory Heathlinks. This card is super pushed, but it has the problem of being white. So, we've had success with it once. I think we can have success with it again. I'm going to go ahead and take Monument to Endurance. It's too much fun. All right, should we play Monument to Endurance, push the limit again? Other options in this pack, there is Count on Luck, but I don't think this is the kind of deck that super benefits off of. An Outpace Oblivion. And, I really like that if we take the push the limit here, we can kind of just build around it. I'm going to learn from my successes of last time, and we're just going to do it again. Okay, so push the limit leads us to want things we can cycle, specifically vehicles and mounts. Those are mostly in red-white. And so Cloudspire Sky Cycle doesn't seem so bad. It's a 2/3 flyer. When it enters, it distributes counters. This is also a vehicle that when it dies, it comes back with push the limit. There's also Ride's End, but I don't think, I'm not sure. There's also Broadcast Rambler. All of these things are fine, but I've never really played this Cloudspire Sky Cycle. It seems just okay, but maybe I want to try it. I guess it is from more of an aggressive deck, which is maybe not what we're trying to do with Monument to Endurance push the limit. Maybe we'd rather be in blue-red. I don't actually know what I want to do here. We could take like this Flood the Engine. I'm just going to take it. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where it takes us. All right. This pack has Broadcast Rambler. It has Dracosaur Auxiliary. This is a 4/4 with flying and haste. When it's saddled, it deals 2 damage. Because it has saddle, it does also mean that with push the limit, it comes back because it's a mount. So I think I'm going to take that. And then I think I'm going to hope to wield this Magmakin Artillerist, which I feel like happens most of the time. All right, this pack has a Sindel Dawn Tyrant. No complaint for 3 mana, 3/3s. The rest of the pack, relatively underwhelming in any of the colors we would probably go into. So I think I'm going to go ahead and take our 2 mana, 3/3 here. Okay, this pack has Gilded Goda and Kickoff Celebrations. Both good cards. One discards, which works with our Monument to Endurance, but I think I'm going to take the Gilded Goda. It's a 2/2, but it is also a mount, so it comes back with push the limit. And it makes treasures, which is not, it is notable when you're trying to play a 7 mana card. All right, this pack has Spot Cycle Scouter and Air Response Unit. I do think I'm playing red-white, mostly because I don't want to play red-blue again. Otherwise, I'd take this Keen Buccaneer. But I kind of want to try some of these cards, see how it goes. And white seems to be a little bit more open. I think I generally value the Air Response Unit a little bit higher than the Spot Cycle Scouter, so I'm going to take that. Flying and Vigilance are just really powerful keywords in this format. You can build an aggressive deck that plays push the limit. Oh, wow, this is a really late Spire mech cycle, especially with these vehicles and these mounts that we're building. This thing that gets counters and has haste. A+ card for this deck. Super happy to take it. I think I'm going to take the Sky Crash. Just not super interested in anything else. Not sure we're going to play it, but if we do, it cycles, destroys artifacts, it does things. Okay, here we can take Nesting Bot, Dynamite Diver, or Scrap Compactor. I think I want to take the Compactor. As much as I love Nesting Bot, having max speed in these decks isn't super important, and I'd rather have a removal spell, even if it's going to be a bad one. Oh, we're glitching. We haven't, did I take the wrong card? It's not in our deck, right? Have I lost the internet? Uh-oh. What's happening, guys? Should I restart? I'm going to try to restart it. I'll be right back. I'm stressed. All right, it appears we've loaded back in. Let's see, we did get our scrap compactor. What else did it give us? An Aether Jacket, there's a Rover Blades and a Swiftwing Assailant, and a Rivers Pyroverge. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that in our sideboard. And then our next pack is Kaladin, which is a great red-white card. Human pilot, mounts, and vehicles have haste. Whenever a mount or vehicle enters, they become saddled / crewed, depending on which you are looking at. And so this card's great. Looking at our red-white aggro deck, even if we don't play Push the Limit or Monument to Endurance, I'm happy to have either of those cards. Right, this pack has a District Mascot, which is not in the colors we're planning on playing. I do think I'm going to take Brightfield Glider here. I don't really like Pace Setter Paragon. And while there are better cards outside of red-white, I think we're pretty solidly in red-white at this point. And Brightfield Glider is pretty good with a number of cards that we can get in these colors. And so I'm pretty happy to take it. It does also come back with Push the Limit. I think in this pack I'm going to take Crash and Burn. There's not too much else exciting in these colors. Having a removal spell is never bad. I think I'm going to take this Ride's End. Gives us a removal spell. There's some other options, but I mean, we almost last picked a Rover Blades. I don't think we're playing 2 of them. And so the rest of the cards, not terribly exciting for these colors. Going back to the Brightfield Glider, this is good in red-white decks for a number of reasons. 1, it's a 1-drop, and these decks tend to be pretty aggressive. 2, it works really well with a lot of the signpost cards. So it works well with the white card that gives mounts and vehicles +1/+1. It also works really well with Cloudspire Coordinator. A lot of the time, like, you can just make 2 pilots with Cloudspire Coordinator in a turn. And even though we don't have either of those, when there's not much else in the pack that you want over it, I would rather have, 3 Brightfield Gliders for our deck than never have taken one. And so it's just a card I value pretty highly in the red-white aggressive decks. So I'm happy to take it here. Ride's End. Monument to Endurance is a card that I'm not sure is making our deck. I also am iffy on this Rover Blades, and I don't think Aether Jacket has a very good place in this deck, so I'm going to go to move those things over. Swiftwing Assailant's like a fine card, but I'm not happy to play it, so I'm only going to play it if I have to. Okay, Zaher's a cool card, but I don't think we want to splash. There's a Nesting Bot, which starts our engines. There's also End Rider Spike Spitter. This starts your engines, and then when you reach max speed, you can exile the top card of your library and play it. I think I'm going to go ahead and take this. We don't have a lot of ways to start our engines, but if we do manage to start our engines and get this going, it's a pretty useful card. It does also have Reach. Okay, 2 cards I could look at playing in this pack. Reckless Velocitor. When it saddles or mounts things, they get +2/+0 and Trample, which is way bigger than you would realize. But I do think I'm going to take this Spot Cycle Scouter. The Scry just feels really nice in games. It feels super smooth to have that Scry there. And so I'm going to go ahead and take that. I don't hate Mustang, but is Mustang the card I really I want here? I don't think I want a pilot land, so I'm going to take the Mustang. I also don't think I'm playing a second copy of Sky Crash. We have to see if we play the first one. I am probably not playing this Amonkhet Raceway. Definitely not playing another Aether Jackets. We'll take a land. Just put some cards in our sideboard. Our curve here is a little awkward. We definitely are in the open red-white seat. The problem with red-white, you may have heard, is that it is the worst color pair. That being said, if you're the only red-white drafter at the table, I drafted red-white the PT. I went 2-1. Ben Stark 3-0 to draft with red-white. If it's open at the table, then you are happy to be in red-white because you're the only person in it. You're likely to get all of these really great cards. But sometimes there's just not a whole lot of red-white cards that come around the table. All right, this pack has Bulwark Ox. It has Spectacular Pile Up. We saw how good this card was last game, but unlike last time, this time our deck's trying to be a little bit more aggressive, so I don't care for it as much. I do love Spire Mech Cycle, but the last one basically wheeled, so I do think I'm going to go ahead and take our 2-drop Mount Ox here. I don't think this card is crazy, but it's definitely serviceable and fits well in this aggressive red-white deck. Okay, I think we're going to just take another Bulwark Ox. Again, not too much exciting in this pack. This thing does things for sure. Okay, there is another Sky Cycle, which I think I'm going to be happy to take. You know, at the very least, they fly, which I've noted now several times is pretty relevant in this format. And then when they die, they can come back with Push the Limit. I think I'm going to take this Skybox Fairy. We're already looking pretty good on the amount of cards we have to play. And so, you know, playing 16 lands and then like a Skybox Fairy as an additional thing to bring back with Push the Limit doesn't seem bad to me. Pretty underwhelming pack. We'll go ahead and take the Glider. Bright Glass Gearhulk. Well, we're a little far from being able to play a double green card, I think. I don't think we have any fixing that touches our colors. So I don't think we're playing the Bright Glass Gearhulk. I think a Gilded Goda seems the most exciting to me here. We do already have 2, so maybe I'll take the Scrap Compactor just so we have it for a little bit more removal if we want it. I don't think Swiftwing Assailant is making our deck. I don't think Sky Crash is making our deck. Sky Crash is more of a sideboard card to me. And I think I'm happy with 16 lands, at least with the Hand Smoother. The problem is that we do have, Raiden and Magmakin Artillerist. I guess we don't actually have that many things that cycle. I'm not sure Push the Limit is actually that good in this deck. It seems like we might just be better off playing a red-white aggressive deck. I do think I'm going to take this Ride's End. Just a useful removal spell. I'm going to go ahead and take the Skybox Fairies and then put them over here. I don't think this deck wants to play Push the Limit. Deck looks a little bit more underwhelming all of a sudden. But like we cut these bad cards if we don't play it. I think this deck looks better without Push the Limit. We can either play this Light Shield Parry or Sky Crash. Sky Crash I think is a little better. With the Hand Smoother, I think I would rather play 16 lands. Especially just because we have so many 2-drops and Gilded Godas that make things, and Endriser Catalyzer that can tap for more mana, and all of a sudden I don't know how I feel about this deck. I think we can play another Spot Cycle Scouter. I don't actually hate Light Wheel enhancements in aggressive decks, but I kind of like Spot Cycle Scouter. Yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and take it. Play this low discard Disciple. Is this the draw discard? Okay, I do like playing one Avishkar Raceway in these decks. Being able to draw a discard in an aggro deck is pretty useful. And, you know, it's an aggressive deck, so it has a pretty easy time getting to max speed. That being said, there is a good chance that with it being an aggressive deck, maybe I do want to play this Brightfield Mustang. I'm also going to put this Rover Blades back in. There's a chance that Rover Blades is kind of cute enough to be good here. Because it can get counters with things and give big things double strike. It's what I like to call a cheeky card. I think it's cheeky. So, okay, I don't think the Sky Crash is making our deck, especially with Kaladin. Oh, it's kind of cute. Do we want to play 17 lands? I think we do want to play 17 lands. I'm really not convinced, though. With 2 sets of Scries, Gilded Godas, I think we can play 16. I'm going to go down on a Plains, I think. This gives us 8 and 8 with Avishkar Raceway, which I think I like. And we need to get one more card from here. Maybe it's one of the compactors. We do have 2 Ride's Ends and a Crash and Burn. I don't think our aggressive deck wants to have that much removal, so I am going to go ahead and cut a Ride's End, and, you know, we'll give this for a ride. I'll see you guys for game number 1. Here we are for match number 1. Our deck that has a lot of 2-drops. Our hand has no 2-drops, but we are on the play We do have Rides End. We have both of our colors and a Vishkar Raceway, so I do think I'm going to keep this, although I think it's close. Like, you guys have seen me keep some pretty sketchy hands. With aggro decks, I do think you need to be a little bit pickier about the hands that you keep. But, you know, this one does have a Mustang, and then I can play the cycle, and so I am going to keep it. Unfortunately, Rides End can't kill the glider, which is a little annoying. But we might be able to kill whatever they play next. Okay, this means they're probably saddling. I do think mana efficiency-wise, I'm just going to go ahead and kill the 3/2. I just don't really want to deal with it, and if we draw another card we want to play, I want to be able to play it. So I'm going to kill the Omnivore now. Right. Fortunately, we did draw another 4-drop. So it is not ideal, but it's okay, I think. Greenbelt Guardian, not quite big enough to saddle, so they will just attack for 1. And then I think going into this turn, my plan is to play the Mustang, mostly because the next card I'm likely to play is this Sky Cycle, which can put 2 counters on the Mustang, which, you know, it's a lot of counters. I could also play this Spike Spitter, which has reach. I think I'm going to play Spike Spitter. I don't think I'm playing a Sky Cycle anytime soon. You know, we've got a couple other cards to play, probably going to hit our 6th land drop for Auxiliary, and then we can put our counters other places. This blocks the glider. It doesn't block the Greenbelt Guardian if they exhaust it, but if that's what they spend their turn doing, I don't think I'm terribly upset about it. And so I'll probably plan to play this Mustang going into my next turn. It appears they are attacking for 5. I'm not going to block, you know, if they decide they only want to do 2, I think that's just better for us because it means, you know, we don't have to deal with it until later. Oh, a 5/4. Well, that's a little annoying. I am going to go ahead and play our Mustang and pass it back. The nice part about Auxiliary here is once we play it, we can start saddling it and dealing 2 damage and like kind of killing their board, which is nice. We may need to double block something here. And then hope we just don't get blown out. But their deck is really aggressive, and so I don't really want to. I am going to double block the... If I double block the Greenbelt Guardian, it's unlikely they can play both a removal spell and make it bigger. But it does mean I'm taking 5. And I can probably kill the Greenbelt Guardian. I think I'm actually going to double block this Imperiosaur. If they play something else, that's better for us playing into the Auxiliary, as long as both of our creatures don't die. But there is like exactly, I think, Rides End for 5 mana that they can do here. We're not in a great situation if that's what they do. Ooh. Okay, at least this, we still trade. And they get to be counters. So they did have a trick to do both. This was a better attack than the other option. Okay, so we can play this 4/4, which I think we're doing. I don't think we're blocking, but I'm a little scared to attack. We can at least block the glider. Our plan next turn is to play Spot Cycle Scouter and to make this big enough to block. Do we think... I think I just can't attack. I really would like to get the 4 points of damage in, but not being able to block the glider seems pretty bad for us here. Take 5. It is a little unfortunate, but Cycle... Cloud, I can't English, Cloud Aspire Cycle should hopefully be enough here to keep us alive. And then I do think 2+1/+1 counters on 1 or 2 creatures. Yes, we can choose 1 and put 2 counters on it, which is important because a 6/6 here is much better than a 5/5. And then I do think I'm going to play this Brightfield Glider just so I have 1 more blocker just in case. Not that it's super relevant because they do have Greenbelt Guardian that can give things trample. So I guess it does matter because it can crew this, which puts 3 3 toughness in front of something. Definitely a chance we would die without this. If we played Spot Cycle Scatter, they could just crew this and then attack with 2 creatures, and there's just nothing I can do. So we need to do this to live. Their attacks are not great with our Dracosaur Auxiliary on the field. You know, there's a chance they can just do something about it, but this is probably the best chance we had at winning this game. And so we're going to do it. All right. We do have to block the Rambler, so go ahead and crew our Sky Cycle. And then I would prefer to kill the Greenbelt Guardian, so when we pass the blockers, we'll put our bigger creature on the Greenbelt Guardian, and, you know, hopefully they don't have anything for it. If they had Rides End, they probably would have done that already. We would be dead. So they could have another Light Shield parry. Okay, Trample, that's not so bad. But if it dies and we keep our 6/6, you know, I think we may be at the point where we've stabilized. Giving it also Trample? Is that just they don't have anything to do, or? Ooh. I think we might be dead. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, it appears we live at 1, but I don't know how we're coming back from this, to be honest. Greenbelt Guardian lives, and we're going to 1. We don't have a board wipe in our deck. I don't think we can come back. That's okay. I'll see you guys for the next game. Okay, here we are for game number 2 with a much better hand. This one has a 1-drop and Call It In. And so I'm much happier with this one. You know, we've got the Brightfield Glider. We can play our Call It In, which will then give our Spot Cycle Scouter haste and stuff. And so this hand feels pretty good. Go ahead, play our Glider. Attack for 1, because we're not going to be able to attack for 2, which is fine. We'll play Call It In. And then Spot Cycle Scatter here is pretty good because it can help us make sure we're finding cards we want to play and not just lands. Canyon Vaulter. I'm a Canyon Vaulter fan. Okay, let's play our Spot Cycle Scouter. Wow, okay, that's really good. Yeah, I mean, I'm happy just getting a bunch of counters. And I don't want to lose Call It In, but I'm okay losing either of the other 2. So I'm going to attack with these 2. Then they can decide what they want to do with their Canyon Vaulter. Play our land and pass. And then Transit Mage, sure. Next turn, we're going to play the Cloud Cycle. Memory Guardian, sure. And so, let's see. We can put 2 counters on this, making it a 5/4. Then if they want to kill it, they have to double block. This will be a 2/3 flyer. I think that sounds good to me. Put all our eggs in one basket, but I think that's okay. It means it can make attacks and stay alive. Okay, go ahead and crew our Spot Cycle Scouter, go to combat and attack. I do want to leave our Call It In alive for the Cloudspire Cycle next turn to get haste. Especially with Memory Guardian, giving this Cloudspire Cycle 2 counters means that our Affinity for Artifacts card, that they can't even play next turn because they have no artifacts, won't block particularly well. Ranges Refuelers, definitely not very scary here. It can't block. So I think this time I'm going to crew with trying to think. They missed their land drop too. Okay, I think I'm just gonna attack for as much as I can. So I'm gonna crew with the Brightfield Glider, play the cycle. I am gonna put all the counters on the cycle. All right, they've seen enough. We've gotten there. I'll see you guys for the next game. Okay, I ran to the bathroom, so we don't have a whole lot of time for this mulligan. We have a Bulwark Ox and a Sundial Tyrant, and we're on the play. We're missing red mana, but I think that's okay. Especially because when we play this Spiromech cycle, we likely get to do fun things with it. Hopefully we just draw some lands. I am undecided on which card we are playing first. I think we should play the Bulwark Ox just because we can saddle it next turn and it can get a counter, which seems better to me, I think. It does the same amount of damage, but our Bulwark Ox is +1 counter. And I think Rover Blades is for later. Ooh, got something in my eyeball. I could play the Rover Blades this turn and then possibly crew it and attack next turn. Whenever this creature attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. I think I want to play this Sundial Tyrant first. We can saddle the Ox this turn, and then if we play the Rover Blades next turn, we can saddle the Ox again and put the counter on Rover Blades. That might be too cute. I might be just like thinking a little too much about things we can do. But I'm going to put the counter on the Ox and attempt to attack for 3. All right, I am going to sacrifice this in response. It'll put it in our graveyard instead of exile. Not the end of the world. 2, 3. Okay, we do kind of need lands, but let's attack for 3. For a second, I thought it had a Vigilance. I was like, man, this card's gotten really crazy. We'll play our Rover Blades. Mountain. The Aether Spark. Oh boy. Okay. Aether Spark has 8 counters. We did draw a land, but not a red one. So if we just ignore Aether Spark, say like we equip this, we can attack for 6. I don't think that's an option though. I'm gonna exile the Mutant Surveyor, crew the Rover Blades just because it does a little bit extra damage to the Aether Spark, and then we'll attack the Aether Spark for 4. I wouldn't say I'm like hopeful from this position, but maybe it was better to just attack them. I just don't really want to let them like draw cards. I don't know. Aether Spark's a very difficult card to play against. But I'm thinking like maybe we can just cheese them out, which doing a lot of damage to their face might have been a better way to do that. Okay, well they're just plussing it, so maybe we can just kill it. We don't get to kill it on board currently. Curseclaw Wrathings. Okay, now we do. We can play the Brightfield Mustang, which can crew our Rover Blades. And then I do think I do not want to worry about our buddy the Aether Spark over here. I'm just going to kill it. Definitely a totally fine answer is killing the Aether Spark and not having to deal with it. Oh, also, we did exile their creatures, so we don't really have anything to get with Curseclaw Wrappings, which is nice. At least not until they get more things. 3/3 Flying Haste. Well, gaining life, not really what I want to see from our opponent here. But, okay, so I'm going to equip this onto the Brightfield Mustang, and then I'm going to saddle it, just because putting the counter on, it only does 1 less point of damage, but it gives it vigilance and a counter, and I think I value that a little bit more. And it does mean that, you know, they have to be a little bit more nervous about their attacks because Brightfield Mustang can kill them by itself next turn. This doesn't get lifelink until after it deals damage, which is good for us. Means they stay at 10. Okay, and we did draw a mountain. So I think our best bet here is to saddle the Mustang and attack with it. This is a lethal attack, so you know they're going to need to do something to it if they want to survive. And we do have Crash and Burn to destroy their creatures so they don't gain life. if we play Spire Mech Cycle, I don't think it matters. Oh, if we play it next turn, I think we win. We can play it. Oh no, because we want to mana to tap for the Rover Blades. So if I don't, if I kill this here, they don't gain 3, but they do get to Curse Claw Wrappings on their turn, and I don't want to give them that option. So I'm going to destroy it in their main 2, so that it is, you know, they can't recast it this turn. Or can Embalm have it at instant speed? Did I make a mistake? No, as a sorcery, that's what I thought. Okay, so I think this is kind of cute, but I think that's okay. I'm going to play this Cloudspire Sky Cycle, putting both the counters on the Rover Blades. And then Crew and attack for 8. They do get their Flying Haste guy back next turn, but we can also play the Mech Cycle and tap the Sky Cycle to make it a 7/6 with haste. And so I feel like this is not a bad situation to be in any means. You know, giving it Embalm, they still do have to pay the mana cost for it. It does have lifelink. And it is, okay, so I think they have to have something if they're attacking. They got a 9, and I think they're dead to, oh, they also have a creature. Okay, so we can play the Mech Cycle, make it a 7/6, and crew the Rover Blades. I think that feels like probably the best we can do. Oh, we're 4. Hold on. We need to be a little bit more defensive. I don't think I thought about the fact that we were dying. If we play Sky Cycle and put the counter on Sky Cycle, both counters, we have it as a flyer to block their flyer. And we can play the glider. Okay, I think I like this. We do need to be able to crew it. Okay, I need to play glider. I need to play this cycle. I'm going to put both the counters on this, making it a 4/5. And then I think I can attack with Rover Blades. I think we can win if we don't, and so I'm just not going to attack. I'm a little pressed for time. It's stressing me out. Because if we need to crew both for some reason, like if we crew one and they kill it, then we can use the other one to keep us alive. Which doesn't seem not notable. I feel like I've made an error this game, just like not looking at my life total. Okay, they're attacking with both. Let's crew this Cloudspire Cycle and crew the Rover Blades. Doesn't appear they have a removal spell. I don't know if they have a trick, but it doesn't look like a removal spell. They probably would have removed something before we blocked. Okay, so they do have a trick, which is fine. They gain 6, a little annoying, and they can play their card again. Being able to play their creature is so annoying. Okay, returning it, replaying it. We do only have one flyer. Oh, Ride's End, thank God. Okay. Can we kill them? If we crew this, it's 8 damage. Doesn't look like it. Okay, so let's crew and make an attack. Don't really want to show them I have a removal spell. So I'm not going to. Because theoretically we do have another blocker. Pass your attackers. I'm going to crew this just so that I can find out if they have a removal spell. Like if I go to crew this, see exactly this. So they removed our creature. Now we have an answer to their thing, but we've taken away their answer to our Roverblades. Super important. That was super useful for us. Also, unless this card's a land, they can't buy this back and replay it, which would kind of require them to embalm it, which exiles it, which is good for us. They do have a land, so they can buy it back and replay it. But all of a sudden, I think we're in, much better of a position. We are at 4, but I think that's okay. We can play our mech cycle. And then I'm just determining if leaving 1 creature up is enough. I think we just attack with this turn. So we're going to exhaust, tapping the Roverblades. And then we'll go to combat and attack for 7. They will probably use their free block, which is fine. But now our mech cycle is another creature. We have plenty of blockers. I feel like we probably could have played this game a little bit better. I'm not feeling super clear-minded right now, which is fine. Can't play perfectly all the time. Buying back their guy, replaying it. Yep. If at any point we draw a mountain, they're dead. Okay, so let's go ahead, play our Bulwark Ox. We can use it to crew this Roverblades. And same thing, can I crew this? Sure, but I don't really want to be down that many creatures. I just don't want to give a reason to lose the game. I think if we keep making attacks, we will win the game. They just don't have enough cards to outpace it. And so I'm just going to keep applying the pressure, leaving plenty of blockers back so that we definitely survive. And then go to damage, play our creature, pass it back to them. And I don't think we play this game perfectly, but I do think we will be okay. All right, cycling Locust Spray. Totally fine with us here. Deathless Pilot's still the only card in their graveyard. Curse Claw Wrappings does require creatures. So, cool thing is we can give our Spire Mech Cycle and our Roverblades hexproof and indestructible. They do need to be creatures, so we might need to crew the Roverblades, but once it's a creature, if we sacrifice Bulwark Ox, we can protect it. Momentum Breaker. Okay, let's crew our Flying Vehicle dude. And I do think I'm just going to sacrifice this Brightfield Glider. We have enough creatures, but I want to make sure that going into this, our air response unit is crewed, so we have 2 blockers just in case. They can gain... Did they... Oh, Are they casting it for its embalm cost? Interesting. Oh, they have another Deathless Pilot. Okay, well, it makes more sense, I guess. Okay, so... I believe we've won in the air. Oh, they can gain 4. That's so annoying. I was going to say, okay. Well, we do have this now. So let's think. Wow, my brain is super foggy. We can crew rover blades, which I think we should do. Let's use the bulwark ox. I don't think it's attacking. And then we can also crew our air response unit, which is, I believe, just a better attack than these other options. And then I need to make sure I don't die. So they can gain 4, go to 12. Maybe we need to leave a creature back. Oops. I think maybe we need to leave a creature back. Because if they gain 4, they can block one of these. Oh no, and then they are dead. So they do need to block both. Right? If they sacrifice, they go to 12. They need to, this is 7. They have to block both of these. Right? I don't think I screwed that up. So we'll attack with everything. They go to 12. We'll have no blockers. So I guess we can survive one Deathless Pilot. So they definitely need to block one of our things. I'm fairly certain I did the math right. They need to block both. Yeah, okay. Double blocking, that kills them, right? Yep, okay. That's what I thought. So we didn't leave a blocker. You know, oil, they do have the 3/3 flying haste thing, but that only does 3 because it's not a zombie until it gets exiled. All right, we got there. I will see you guys for the next one. Okay, welcome to game number 4. We are on the play, and this hand I think is just going to be a tad too awkward. If we had something to saddle the Gilded Goda, I would keep it, but I think I just want to find a better mix of lands and spells. This is a better mix of land and spells. Not the strongest hand, but I think that's okay. We're on the play. I'm going to put a land on the bottom since we can play our Gilded Goda, and it can make treasures. You know, if we're an aggro deck, I don't think we want to have a million lands. So we're planning on playing our Gilded Goda on turn 2. It'd be nice if we drew something we could use to saddle this and make a treasure. That'd be the ideal situation here, I think. Well, a 6 mana card is not what we are using to saddle our Gilded Goda, for sure. We'll play our Gilded Goda, pass it back over. They have Road Rage, or like Sky Crash or something. Their own Gilded Goda. Unfortunate. Watch, after all of this, I'm going to say these things, and I am not going to play or attack with this just because we can play this cycle and put the counters on it. And then we're not going to draw land. Cloud Spire Captain. Oh, our opponent has a much better start than we do. Uh-oh. We're taking 3. They're getting a treasure. It's a card we really wish we had in our deck. Bulwark Ox. Well, we can get a counter now. We're taking a lot of damage, but I don't think we have a choice. We need to be able to play our spells. Go ahead and attack. Get our treasure token. We're taking a lot of damage on the crackback. Punished for putting the land on the bottom. Maybe we were supposed to know we had such a high density of 4-drops and put one of our 4-drops back instead. Like maybe the Spike Spitter doesn't do enough. We didn't know our opponent was playing an aggro deck though, and we don't really want to flood. I'm not sure. Goblin Surveyor. Okay, well, it starts engines, but it's definitely not the scariest thing they could have had. So they are going to attack for 5, which is, again, not the end of the world. They get another treasure, which is not ideal, but that's okay. Drawing a land here would be pretty nice, I think. Canyon Vaulter. Okay. Nice. Okay, so the reason the land was so good here is we now get to play our Cloud Spire Cycle, which we can use to make a creature that is bigger than their creatures. Also, it flies, which is nice. It is not quite big enough to block everything, but I'm going to go ahead and put, I think, all the counters on the Gilded Goda. Just having a 4 toughness creature here is definitely better for us than having something that is smaller. And if they make the Gilded Goda fly and attack with it, I think we're okay with that because we can play the Spike Spitter next turn. It does appear they're also missing land drops, which is definitely notable. Okay. They're attacking with everything? Okay. I was going to say, that's bold. Okay, they can get their treasure. Yep, they can attack in the air. That's fine. We can probably play our Spike Spitter next turn, which will stop the attacks from the Gilded Goda. Glory Heathlinks, that's a good card. Helps them find lands. Leonin Surveyor, okay. Not the end of the world. Our turn. I am just going to play this Spike Spitter and pass. It blocks in the... Oh, this can also fly. We might have to double block the Lynx. It gets a Plains, which is rather annoying. I didn't think about them instead saddling the Glory Heathlinks. It can only kill the Cloudspire Cycle unless they find some sort of way to get a counter on it, which is positive for us. I wonder if they just attack out how dead we are. I don't really want to know. We're not dead because we can block three of their 6 creatures, and 2 of them have 2 power, and so I think we'd go to 2 is the fast way to do that math. Saddle, make it fly. Yep. Pass to attackers. Okay, this is going to get them a Plains. And then we will crew our Sky Cycle and double block. Then just, Light Shield parry keeps it alive but doesn't kill 2 of our creatures. Oh, they have a removal spell. That'd be pretty bad for us. It appears they have Lightning Strike or something. Deciding it's better to let us block first, I guess. Sky Crash. Okay, that's fine. Still doesn't kill this, so not the end of the world. Kind of the same result on our end, at least. Okay. We still can't play the Dragon Auxiliary, but we can play this Crash and Burn. And I think that's going to be our plan. That seems better than just letting them continuously make their things fly. The only thing that flies that I think we're super worried about is the Glory Heathlinks. So I think we can kill the Lynx instead of the Canyon Vaulter. If we were going to kill the Canyon Vaulter, we should have done it on our turn. But I think it's a little safer to wait and just kill the Lynx, especially since we have a reach creature for this Gilded Goda. Oh boy, okay. Definitely not ideal. 1/1 does mean that we can block the Gilded Goda, which is nice. Okay. Saddle Shore. When they go to combat, I am going to kill the Lynx before they can search for their Plains. Just deal 4 damage. We'll kill it. It's the one that flies. Pass to attackers. Makes a treasure. I do think I just want to trade with the 4/4. Ooh, okay, here's what I'm going to do. We're going to trade our Bulwark Ox. We're going to block like this, and then we're going to sacrifice Make sure this works. Sacrifice creatures you control with counters on them get hexproof and indestructible. So we're going to sacrifice this, which will give our Gilded Goda indestructible. And so now we're trading our Bulwark Ox for the Gilded Goda, which is a little better because it means we still have our 4 power creature to block. Ride's End is definitely nice for our safety. I think because of that, I'm going to play the Spot Cycle Scouter. We want exactly 1 more land and not any more. And so if there's 2 lands here, is the land sketchier if it's tapped? I think we still kind of want it. So I'm going to do this. Cloudspire Cycle is definitely good. And then we'll pass it back to our opponent. We only have 1 reach creature. I wonder if now we just want to Rides in the Canyon Vaulter. I think so, actually. That way they can't play something that they can give flying. Yeah, I think I want to Rides in the Canyon Vaulter. I'm not so sure about this, but I'm definitely spooked by the ability of their things to go in the air. We have only 1 blocker for things in the air until we can draw our land. Oh, see, and now they have a way to kill it. So we can draw our land, which is going to gain us a life. Make sure we create this in response so we have a creature. We can play our Dragon Lord Auxiliary the following turn, which will give us a flyer. Outplace Oblivion's really scary. This puts us to 6. We gain a life, go to 7. Play our tap land. They deal 3, puts us to 4. So I wouldn't say I feel great, but technically not dead. And if they have an additional removal spell, we are just dead. But given their start compared to our start, I feel like we've stabilized decently. Rambler. Okay, that's pretty scary. Especially because it's a 6/5. We don't have good ways to block it. Yep. Have to take this. Nothing we can do about it. And I don't think Dragon Lord Auxiliary is enough to save us here. Playing the Dragon Lord Auxiliary is giving us the most creatures. So they do only have 4 creatures. So technically, I think we're dead. But I'm going to make them figure that out. It does require sacrificing the Outpace Oblivion. They need to remember that. Oh, or having a removal spell. Oopsies. All right, we're dead. Unfortunate, but it is what it is. Okay, here we are for game number 5. We're on the play. We don't have any creatures that aren't vehicles, but we've got lands. Spot Cycle Scouter is here to make sure we can, filter the cards we draw, and Aspire Mech Cycle is looking pretty good from here, actually. It gets pretty big with our other vehicles that we have. Spot Cycle Scouter, we've got another one. And we have a Ride's End to protect us. Okay, land looks good to me. And I think, maybe we want a non-vehicle. I think we want a non-vehicle in this spot. So I'm going to bottom that. We can choose next turn to either play Scouter or Ride's End. But either way, I think we're playing a tap land. And I'm not super concerned about the Wreckage Worker folk. So I think I will play Scouter. We could also play Air Response Unit, but because we don't have anything to crew our vehicle count's a little high in our deck. I do want to scry and just make sure we can find creatures. I think I'm going to put the Compactor on the bottom. I want to try to draw lands to our Mech Cycle. Thankfully, Glider we can play with Air Response Unit, and then, all of a sudden we do have creatures again, which is nice. And one that can block their 1/3. All right, we both lose to Plains, Glider, and then I do think I'm going to go ahead and play this Air Response Unit. And then I don't think, we are the aggro. Okay. Yeah, I think I'll attack for 3. I don't think them attacking for 1 is doing anything scary to us. We're the aggro. Especially because them attacking for 1, like, we play Aspire Mech Cycle, and it's just like a huge creature. Land? No. Okay. That's okay. Spike Spear is pretty good here. It is a reach creature, so it blocks, but also we can go ahead and crew our flyer and start getting speed. And oops, this will possibly be a way for us to start seeing more cards, which is something I do think we want to happen at some point during this draft, or during this game. Okay, Pride of the Road. That will start their engines. A rather spooky one at that. You know, once they do hit max engines, that card is pretty scary. I do think I am going to attack in the air. Let's see, if we do this, we can crew this, which shadows this. So we'd have to tap all of our things to guarantee an attack this turn. And I don't think I like that. So I'm going to play this glider. I'm going to crew with the one that can't attack or block, or the one with Summoning Sickness. Go to combat and just attack for 3 in the air. I like attacking in the air. It feels a little safer against this Pride of the Road and things of said nature. We do have rides in if they, you know, happen to play anything that taps. Another interface ace. It does not appear we'll be doing very much damage on the ground this game. Unfortunate for our Aspire Mech Cycle, but our Aspire Mech Cycle probably will be able to come in and become big enough that it gets to get 1 good attack in, I imagine. Not sure what they're thinking about. If they attack with the Pride of the Road, I will double block it. All right. Okay, great. We did draw land. So Spire Mech Cycle, if we play it, becomes actually massive. It has 5 things it gets counters. Yeah, I like that. So we'll go ahead, exhaust, making this a 10-9. Definitely good for us. We'll make our 3/3 flyer and get some damage in the air. And then attack with our just absolutely massive mech cycle that we have. Deathless Pilot. Okay, so they do get free blocks with the Deathless Pilot every turn. It's the unfortunate part. This is why I value Canyon Vaulter so high. Canyon Vaulter is so good in decks like this, because now all of a sudden we would just be able to crew our giant mech cycle. And like, what are they going to do about it? It flies. Discarding our Ride's End. That's rude. I wanted that. It's not the end of the world. They don't have anything that's like making that matter a whole lot. I think they're thinking if they have any attacks, which I'm fairly certain they don't. They may at some point because of this daring mechanic, but it can only put counters on like vehicles and things. Okay, I think I'm gonna leave my Spire Mech Cycle back as a blocker. I think the way we're going to win this game is in the air. And so rather than, you know, use our big mech cycle, I am going to also play our Dynamite Diver, crew our Spot Cycle Scouter, because it saddles our Brightfield Glider, which gives it vigilance and flying. And then we'll have 2 flying attackers. You know, and they already have a pretty difficult time dealing with the flying attackers with their current board. But this is also going to give us max speed, so we see more cards with Spike Spitter. Through 2 removal spells if they had to. They do only have 1 black source open, so I'm not sure what removal spell they could have had, but they don't have it now. That's for sure. And therefore, you know, we kill them in the air. We see extra cards. I am definitely not feeling terrible about our situation here. Lotus Guard Disciple. Okay, well, that gives them life. Is a little annoying. To see a menace? No, okay. A counter, sure. Crew. Yep. And we can block it, so, you know, they're not going to gain speed, they're just going to gain that 5 life, which is fine. It slows us down, but it is not the end of the world. Okay. Our turn. We get to exile a card. Kaladin, okay. Gilded Goda. Right, well, we're definitely playing this Kaladin. Also, Gilded Goda does have haste if we play it. I think I want to continue just attacking in the air, and so that's going to be my plan. Although our Gilded Goda does become saddled. I'm going to crew our Spot Cycle Scouter with Dynamite Diver. Use that to mount our Brightfield Glider. Going to crew with Kaladin, which I will use to saddle our other Brightfield Glider. And then I'm going to crew our Air Response Unit. Go to combat. We'll attack for a lot in the air. Maintaining our position of only attacking in the air. Don't feel a desire to attack on the ground. And this will leave us with 4 untapped creatures going into their turn, which is lovely. What's also nice about this is they can't even trade with any of our flyers, so we do still keep all of those next turn. A swamp, okay. Engine Rat. Losing 2 does not appear what will get them there. All right, on to the next game. All right, welcome to game number 6. Our opponent's on the play. We have 3 lands, a 2-drop, a 3-drop, and Ride's End. So I'm going to go ahead and keep this. Nesting Bot. All right, all the aggro decks tonight. We'll play our planes. They are going to get to go to 2-speed, but not much we can do about it. I think our plan is to play Bulwark Ox anyway. The Leonin Surveyor does get first strike on their turn, so we will not have a way to block the Leonin Surveyor this turn. We can block the Nesting Bot, but, you know, there's only so much white-blue decks do with max speed. And we can slow them down next turn by playing our Air Response Unit. It is a 3/3, so it'll block their things a little bit better. The Aether Spark. All right. Well, they're going to be able to play their Aether Spark next turn, so I do not think that we are going to let that creature attack. So I am going to saddle the Bulwark Ox and put a counter on it. If they want to trade 2 creatures here for it, they can, but we're planning on casting Ride's End anyway, and this being a 3/3 creature will be a lot more important going into dealing with the Aether Spark. The Aether Spark will have 5 loyalty after they attack, and so hopefully we can find a way to kill it. Right. Aether Spark, equipping to something. Hopefully the Leonin Surveyor, just so we don't have to deal with that card anymore. They will hit max speed, which is a little annoying, but not the end of the world. If I were them, I probably wouldn't be attacking with all of my creatures. I would probably be leaving something back to block and protect the Aether Spark, but I don't know if that is what they are going to do. Ooh, that's tasty. That one we get to exile. It looks like they are going to hold back. I give you a lot of credit, opponent. Oh, I just realized. No, this is not. I was thinking about District Mascot. District Mascot does kill. Does kill things. Okay, Bulwark Ox, we can give it a counter. And if we do that, then, ooh, or we could attack the Aether Spark for 2. I think I like attacking the Aether Spark for 2. The Aether Spark would then go up to 3. I don't know. I think they do need a creature to put the Aether Spark on, so I think I'm going to I'm going to attack the Aether Spark for 4, putting the counter on the Ox. And then if they want to trade both their creatures, it does mean that they have to play a creature to equip the Aether Spark. And, you know, from that point, we have, you know, some creatures we can play. We have another Ride's End. The other Ride's End is pivotal to this plan. Puts the Aether Spark down to 1. When they equip it, it'll go to 2. And then we can Ride's End whatever creature they put it on. And then we can kill it. Master plan. All right, Aether Spark going on to the Leonin Surveyor. This time they are attacking with both. Can you go ahead, exile the Leonin Surveyor. Really hope they don't have a counter spell. We're already dealing with the Aether Spark. We don't need to deal with anything else. This is a really, really messed up card. All right, it's been exiled. They will get to max speed, but like I said, you know, it doesn't do very much in these blue-white decks. It would have made it so they could have used their Leonin Surveyor's ability, but it is in exile. The power of Ride's End. All right, let's see what they do. Nimble Thopterus. So that does make 2 creatures. Makes sense as to why they attacked with the Transit Mage now. Okay. They do also have a flyer, which is a little annoying. So we can play. We play our land. We can either play Mech Cycle or we can play Glider and Air Response Unit. If we play Glider and Air Response Unit, we can play the Glider, crew the Air Response Unit, crew the Glider, and then it's 2 in the air. Both of these can go after the Aether Spark, which they can then block both, but they lose 2 creatures. They can then re-equip the Aether Spark, but at that point, I feel like we're a little less scared. So I think that is what I'm going to do. So we'll play this. We will crew this with this. Saddle this with this. Next to combat, and then both of these will go after the Aether Spark. That'll get a counter in flying. And so now if they want to save the Aether Spark, they must block both of our creatures, losing both of theirs, and nothing happens to ours. So I would prefer they let the Aether Spark die. This is a totally fine situation for me. They're trading 2 of their creatures to get rid of the Bulwark Ox, but the Aether Spark is dead. I am totally happy with this outcome. Next turn we can play our Spire Mech Cycle, and it'll be Larg. Larg sounds good to me. I like large creatures. This card just has been constantly impressive. I don't know. I like it. Like they got a beach ball. Hee hee. I've been leaving my fans on. These must be so distracted. All right, let's see what they're thinking about. Cycling, okay. That means they're not going to be able to use their Gallant Strike to deal with our Spire Mech Cycle. Either they're trying to hit lands and find better things, or they have another removal spell, so they didn't care about losing this one. Both totally possible. Okay, I think it is mech cycle time. These guys do have vigilance. But if I tap down, okay, I think we're going to exhaust this with one of these guys. I can't attack for 11. I could also leave back our blocker. I don't think I need to leave back our blocker. I think we're the aggro. Let's attack for all the marbles. 11 whole points of damage. Puts our opponent down to a pretty low life total. Endriser Catalyzer does saddle one of our gliders, which is nice. We'll see what they have. I anticipate them having a removal spell for the mech cycle. I'm not sure they would have cycled the Gallant Strike without one. But also, you know, like they did let their Aether Spark die, which is good for us. They're thinking long and hard. At least we get to play with the beach ball. There's not much we can do until we know what they're doing. You know, like the most obvious thing from where we are is we can play Catalyzer, which can saddle one of the gliders. Oh, Market Back Walker. Okay, they did leave 2 mana up, which makes me think they probably have a flyer. Or probably have an answer to the mech cycle. I'm going to go ahead, saddle with the Catalyzer, and then I'm going to crew our air response unit. And I'll attack with everything. You know, they can decide what to answer. We do also have our Dracosaur Auxiliary, which is nice. We do need 1 more land for it, or max speed. But we did just start speed, so max speed not looking like it's going to be the easiest thing to get right away. All right, looks like they are just going to block to draw a card. Howler's heavy. Okay, they're going to draw another card, take a little less damage. That's fine. They're still deeply in threat of their life total. We can play many flyers. Our Dracosaur Auxiliary can, you know, saddle, presuming we get another land, which can also deal 2 to their face, on top of being a 4/4 flyer. So I'm feeling pretty good about our ability here. It looks like they were really just trying to find more lands, and they weren't able to. A flyer, okay. They do only have 1 land. They could play Bounce Off. Unfortunately, we did not draw a land. I do think, even without that, I'm still going to attack with all our flyers. They can block 1 of them, which is still lethal. So we will saddle with this. It is a little funny. We are going to saddle with our mech cycle, but that's fine. Saddle with our mech cycle, crew the air response unit, and now I think the only card we don't kill them through here is Bounce Off. We do lose a flyer, so if they have Bounce Off, you know, there is a chance they can come back, but we do get to attack with 2 flyers again next turn, and they're going to have to take 1 flyer even if they have Bounce Off. And so I'm feeling fairly good, especially since we can draw in and play our Dracosaur Auxiliary. Bounce Off is the only thing that keeps them alive here, so given that they're still thinking makes me think they might be dead. I don't think there's anything else at 1 blue, just Bounce Off. I think they're just realizing it. All right, we've got a block. Oh, they have the Bounce Off. So this is, you know, not ideal. We do lose a creature, but they go to 2, and then we can play our Brightfield Glider, which can be a flying attacker again next turn. So they do need to have an answer for a flyer. At this point, honestly, they need to have answers for a lot of our creatures. And if we draw a land, Dracosaur Auxiliary will enter saddled and can just bolt their face. So it's going to take a fair bit for them to come back here. Like they could board wipe, but then if we draw a land, they're dead. So we'll see what happens. Detention Chariot. Okay, so this does give them an answer to keep them alive if we don't draw a land. All right, I guess not necessarily because they just don't have enough creatures. We didn't draw land, but this also has haste. And so with that, we can just attack with all of our creatures, and they should be dead. Good game, opponent. I will see you guys for the next match. I hate to put this kind of pressure on myself because I don't feel great about my deck, but we are one win away from Diamond, so fingers crossed we can get there. Okay, here we are for our match for Diamond. Unfortunately, with a hand that is not getting us to Diamond. Our opponent is on the play, but we have only expensive red cards with cheap white cards but no white lands. So as soon as our opponent gives us the opportunity, we are going to mulligan our hand. Hopefully we find a better one. This one's much better. 1 drop into 2 drop into 3 drop. It has lands. I think Gilded Goda is the one I'm going to put on the bottom. I want to play Brightfield Glider, and then I like Catalyzer because it saddles the glider and starts our engines. I guess we do have a land that starts our engines, but we can't play Glider and then play this land and still attack. And so I am going to bottom the Gilded Goda. Just a little bit more excited about this Catalyzer, I think. Especially because it saddles the Brightfield Glider, so we can start, sneaking points in the air, which is nice. With Air Response Unit, we can just be, kind of cheeky and sneak a lot of stuff in the air. And so I think that's going to be our goal here. All right, our opponent is really thinking about what to do with their 2 mana. Sky Seeker's Chariot. Okay. This is probably going to make the activated ability of our Brightfield Glider cost more, which is unfortunate, but it does still get to attack for 1. And it flying is not the most important thing in the world anymore because the Sky Seeker's Chariot does fly. So as soon as they play a creature, we're not going to be able to attack in the air anymore anyway. So if they attack us for 3, I do think my intent will be to exile it. We could also just play our Air Response Unit and use that as a way to deal with this. But I think I like killing the Sky Seeker's Chariot more. It also just gets rid of a flyer, which is something that is super pesky for us here. Saddle the Brightfield Glider so it can't be blocked, and sneak in for a couple points of damage that increase our speed. The nice part about this is that we do have a Vishkar Raceway, so if we do end up flooding, we have a land that's kind of a fail-proof. It does use almost all of our mana every turn, but it's better to use all of our mana every turn than to not be able to do anything about it, especially since our Catalyzer will probably be tapping for mana next turn. Our opponent did use all their mana on a starting call in this turn, which probably means good news for us. I think they're deciding whether to attack, and, I want to hit max speed, so if they're attacking, I'm not blocking. Yeah, they're leaving 1 blocker back, which makes sense. So I'm not going to block. I want to, attack in the air and be able to get max speed for our Catalyzer and our land. And if we don't draw something super useful, I think I'm going to highly consider... Ooh. I see. This is going to make getting max speed this turn pretty much impossible. I am not trading for a servo, so I am going to play our Air Response Unit, which will give us a way to get to max speed next turn, and then pass it back to our opponent. We do also have this Spire Mech Cycle, which is nice. Pact All Terror. Kind of scary card, but I think we will be okay. Does get them to be a 3/3. Do I want to trade for their 3/3? I'm a little nervous about our life total. think I'm just going to take it. I want to be able to make our mech cycle have haste, if that was what I wanted to do. I do think rather than do that, I'm just going to attack for 3 in the air and get max speed. That's kind of scary. I think we need to play the mech cycle as a blocker this turn. So I am going to just exhaust, and I think I want to utilize it as a blocker rather than an attacker. I don't really want to lose our End Riser Catalyzer or anything, and so it's just a really great blocker here. You know, our opponent doesn't have any more lands, but they're definitely applying pressure, and I don't like that. I don't want to take any more damage. I think with Avishkar Raceway, once we get to max speed, we're in a pretty good position to, you know, play whatever spells we want and cycle through our deck to find things that are better. And I'm more happy to crew these air response unit with End Riser Catalyzer to attack to go to max speed next turn because I have a blocker. All right, they did play a 3/3 flyer, which becomes a 3/4 flyer, which does change our ability to get to max speed here. And I really want max speed. So unfortunate. They have good blocks too. Attacking for 3 is so bad for us. Wow, that was like one of the worst possible cards our opponent could have played here. I unfortunately don't think we can do anything, but oh man, I really want max speed. We would have taken too much damage if we got it last turn. Rambler, yeah. None of this is very good for us. You know, this pings us for 2. We're taking everything in the air. They now have another flyer, making it even more difficult to get to max speed. And then the Rambler can start attacking, and the mech cycle has to block the Rambler. So I'm just not feeling that great. We kind of needed to draw some non-land cards. All right, we have Bulwark Ox. This changes some things. The nice part about Bulwark Ox here is that it can make our mech cycle indestructible. I think we might be dead if we do that though. If we use it on the blocker side, maybe we're okay. Let's just say I'm not feeling great. I'm honestly not sure what we can do to come back from this. Kill the flyer, somehow get to max speed, and then, you know, hope they make really passive attacks. We do get to keep our mech cycle after blocking the Rambler, which is relevant because we can sacrifice the Bulwark Ox. And if they make a bigger attack, we can block and sacrifice the Bulwark Ox, which is good for us. Well, exiling it means we can't. Oh no, it does give it hexproof. Fuck. Sorry, I'm normally a more friendly channel than that. I could have given it hexproof, but now it's definitely not worth it. What I should have done was I should have crewed with the Bulwark Ox and then sacrificed to give it hexproof. You know, I don't know what their attacks are now, but it's bad for us either way. Yeah, I think we're dead. I think we were dead either way. That's okay. It'll have to be the next draft where we get to Diamond. And that's okay. It's fine. Everything's fine. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. The best thing you can do to support my channel for free is like, comment, and subscribe. I really appreciate all the support. If you want to sponsor me more directly, down below there is a link to my Patreon. It has my deck guides, things like that. It's also kind of like my blog, little diary on how I improve at the pro level. So that's down below if you're interested, and if not, I will see you in the next video.